Hello, Steve White, Steve White's 89. Well, they are rebooting another Stephen King classic. They're remaking FireStarter, or they've remade FireStarter. The trailer was just released yesterday. That's from Blumhouse. The production looks good, but I do have some issues. I just watched the trailer, and the main thing for me that doesn't work is that the actress is too old. Part of the appeal of the original film was that Charlie was so young and innocent, and she didn't really understand what was happening to her, and there was really no way to deal with a child that young. So there was a danger in that, and that was part of the film. That's what sort of worked for me. Now, I read the book back in the day. I don't remember how old the character was in the book, but this character, she seems more like a prepubescent girl, or she just seems too old, and part of that does play out in that she doesn't seem at all innocent. She does say that he asked her not to hurt anyone. She says, "I'll only hurt bad people." And she says that it feels good to hurt people and to use her powers and to basically kill people. And that's pretty disturbing. Now, that makes it more of a horror film, I guess. The idea of a child, adolescent child, having these powers and using them, as they wish, with no control, because young children, teenagers, basically have very little control and not a whole lot of conscience and ability to see the consequences of their actions, and they can be very selfish and narcissistic. So the idea of a child having that sort of power, the kind of power, like they say, that could create a nuclear explosion one day, like, now she'd probably have to take a long time to get to that point, to develop her skills to that level. She probably would have matured. She probably won't destroy the world, but she's sure going to kill a lot of people in the film. Now, I found that a bit disturbing. Now, there's a character in the film who is obviously they're trying to exploit her, and they say that she's basically a superhero. She has superpowers. I'm like, when I grew up, my superheroes didn't kill people, and they didn't enjoy killing people. So I don't see her as a superhero, and I don't think superheroes should be promoted that kill people. So I don't really know where they're going with that. But, the preview looked good. The pyrotechnic and special effects work looked great. I'm assuming they use a lot of real practical fire as well as CGI, because CGI fire is fairly notorious to get right, so I'm assuming they're going to use a lot of practical effects. And there's a scene where she's in school and she's trying to control her anger, and she runs to the bathroom, she turns on all the taps and the water boils, she goes in the toilet, and the teacher's coming in like to see what's wrong with her and knocking on the door, and basically the whole stall is like heating up, and basically the door bursts off and she walks out. There's just heat and energy and sort of flames like everywhere. And of course they have to run because the government's after them and so forth. And it's very much like the original film, but it doesn't play the same, because you had Drew Barrymore, who was, little Gertie from E.T., who was this innocent girl who, was trying to control this power. Whereas this girl, she seems like she's just exploiting it and using it. She, it just plays differently, and I guess it's more of a horror film. But it's from Blumhouse, but I didn't feel like the original film was a horror film, and I don't remember the novel being a horror in that way. But then again, I read it when I was like young, and I don't remember. I read it a long time ago. So and I just wanted to comment on that, because I thought I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting for her to be the villain, and for someone to suggest that she's a superhero while she's acting like a villain. I find there's some very disturbing mixed messages and I find too much now that superheroes are allowed to be villains, and villains are being held up as superheroes. And I really feel old saying this, but I miss the days when, the goodies were good and the baddies were bad, and you knew who was who. And I get that humanity and people are different, and there's a lot of grey, but the whole point of the superheroes was they sorted out the black and the white and got rid of the grey, and they knew who they were and what was right or wrong, and they taught you what was right or wrong. So the idea of having superheroes now who just revel in the grey, I've always found disturbing, and I find elements of that in at least the trailer. I'm assuming in the film. I haven't seen the film. Sometimes trailers are very misleading and don't really represent the film, but that's mostly through manipulating things, whereas this seemed like legitimate scenes and dialogue that are in the film and not just being recut or repositioned, but it's hard to tell. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, Let me know what you think. What do you think of the original film? I forgot to mention the actors. Zac Efron is playing the father, and Ryan Kiera is the girl this time instead of Drew Barrymore, and David Keefe, who was really cute. That was one of the things I remember about him, and I was very young, but I was really aware how cute he was. And Zac Efron sort of is a fairly worthy successor on that level, but he's a fairly good actor, so I'm assuming there's no issues with the acting. I'm just not sure about the politics and just how it's going to, how our powers are going to be used. I'm going to go. Bye.